Would you like to sing something? Wil je een stukje zingen?
Het is wel heel kort, hè?
Ja.
Sorry.
So all of you, welcome to our ISKCON temple. We will be having Sunday feast, which is we're doing music meditation until 4 o'clock, and then from 4 till 5 there will be a talk, and at 5 o'clock there will be an arti followed by Tulsi Puja, and after that there's Prashanam, a vegetarian meal to take home or eat in, I believe, I'm not sure. Anyway, they're packed in boxes, you can either eat here in the lounge or take it. So you could be doing anything, but you're here. Very much welcome.
Maybe we should tell the people that there's a separation of men and women.
Oh yeah, generally ladies are on this side and the gentlemen are on that side. But yeah, it's not that.
Well,
so, yeah.
At least some formal. The idea is that we focus on Krishna.
It's just that you may feel uncomfortable later on when you're surrounded by all men or all women in one place.
Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah.
Ja, spelen?
Ja. Hier.
Oh, sorry, yeah.
To material things around us. And we do this by focusing on 3 names of the Lord. Krishna, the all attractive, Hare, his female counterpart, his loving energy, Radharani, and Ram. Yeah, it's different interpretations. Some see it as Lord Ram from Sitaram, some see it as Balaram, depending on your personal mood. Source of all pleasure, usually meditative like that. So, what we do when we sing this, first we listen, then we respond. We try to, there's so much going on in our minds, we try to let go of that for a second. Thoughts will come. If you tolerate them, they will also go after some time. So, in the meantime, we just try to focus on the sound. Because already just, we say, the Lord is absolute, the Lord is almighty. He's not different from his name. Just by saying his name, our favorite name is Krishna, but you can call him any name you like.
What does Krishna mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, we
2
meditate
vowels
on
in
it
it.
as all attractive, or it means
Dark.
dark.
The 2 vowels in it, the
Yeah.
I and the A, so that also has a significance. I
Yeah,
think
there's,
so.
people meditate on it for lifetimes to get to know the real meaning of Krishna.
You
We
can
just
actually
Prabhupada.
split the words in all possible ways, like Krishna, 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 and they all have a meaning.
Yeah. So yeah, it takes lifetimes meditating to fully realize the meaning. But for now, Prabhupada gives us the prayer, like this attractive Lord, source of, love and pleasure. Please engage me in your service. So just briefly, but yeah, so if the name of the Lord is the same as the Lord, just by saying his name, he's here. He's actually here. We're actually in his presence. So that's also a nice meditation. So 10 more minutes of this, and then we'll sing a nice song, and then we'll have some mass.
First of all, thank you for coming today. Today's lecture will be given by Her Grace Paula Mataji. Haribol! So Paula Mataji is of course well known for all the services she did and for the nice kirtans, for nice playing instruments. So I'm really eager to hear what she will tell us today.
So, ISKCON is an ancient tradition, or comes from an ancient tradition, from the area of Bengal. And one of the teachers in this line, which goes back to ancient times, in the 60s he came to the West on the order of his spiritual master, his guru. And he transplanted this ancient tradition from Bengal in India to initially the US, then the UK, all over Europe, and then from there it spread all over the world. So this is the person that you see here. He's also on the left at the bottom row. We call him Srila Prabhupada. So we sing Hare Krishna, but at the start and at the end you hear something different. That's, we pay basis, we thank our teachers, and he's our main teacher. So before he would speak, he would always sing this one song that he was very, very fond of, which has become a tradition in our movement to sing before we speak. You will see it on the board. He used to call it, it's like a description of the spiritual realm. It's a sweet place where every step is a dance and every word is a song. And the Lord resides there, and he has different relationships with different people. And your kids may call you some sweet name, and your parents may call you some other sweet name. In this way, the Lord also has unlimited names related to the relationship that the person has with him. And that's this song. It's all different names of Krishna. Yeah, I can explain it to you, but you can also just hear and you can look it up later. Indian people here, they will know more or less. Behind every name, there's also a beautiful, beautiful story. using for lifting grain. Special bananensuiker.
Oh, op die manier. Ja, nou ja, ja, volgende week ook wel super.
Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishna Krishna Chaitanya Namo Namo Ramaya Namo Krishna Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama So thank you very much for coming. I was asked to give a lecture just a week ago, and my week would be quite packed. But I knew I wanted to speak about Sadhu Sangha in the sense that developing spiritual friendships and supporting each other in a way that is spiritually uplifting. And then I went to Radhadesh. I don't know, so I will try to. I prepared something, but I will be a little free in my approach because I know there's people have been practicing this specific tradition for decades already in the audience. I know there's new people in the audience. There's some people who are familiar with Sanatana Dharma, but maybe not necessarily with our specific tradition within Sanatana Dharma. So I'll try to keep it relevant to everybody personally. So we have this community in the Belgian Ardennes. It's called Radhadesh. It's a castle. There's a beautiful temple there of Radha Gopinath. And I go there sometimes to basically get spiritual upliftment and to speak to some sadhus. There's people living there who've been dedicating their lives full time to the service of the murtis there, of the community, of the beautiful temple appearances that are there. So they have been practicing day in, day out for so long, and they have really developed this wisdom. So for me, they are sadhus. Just as a side note, because I told the Sampati Prabhu before we were speaking that I was going to talk about Sadhu Sangha, and he was like, yeah, I forget sometimes. And I had the impression that you were thinking of Sadhu Sangha as just association with like pure devotees, right? Elevated devotees.
I actually forget it many times. But thank you for being kind.
No, I mean, I have the same. But often, also in our community, we think sadhus that, Swami here, Swami there. So, sadhu, I was just looking it up a little bit. Sad, the Sanskrit root sad means, it can mean several things, but good, straight, also straight to the goal. But basically it has the same root as sadhana. So a sadhu is somebody who practices some kind of sadhana. Sadhana is a spiritual practice that you do regularly. In Hinduism there's different ways of doing it, but Christian traditions have different ways of doing it. Muslims have different sadhanas in some sense. So also a person who, like for example, prays every evening and reveals his heart to, whatever name they call God, he's practicing sadhana. And by doing this, by directly connecting to this, to the Lord or to a higher power, whatever is your preference, you get some wisdom, you get some insights, and it gives you. I wanted to talk about that today. So yeah, sadhus I consider anybody who is seriously and structurally practicing some spiritual process, which means all of us who are here attending the temple regularly, just the fact that you come here regularly is also some kind of process already. It's a little start. So often the process that we, our specific tradition practices, so yeah, we have an official name, Gaudiya Madhva. Anyway, long name. We are the Gaudiya Sampradaya for short. So that means our tradition is the Bhakti Yoga that is practiced in Bengal. Everybody knows yoga. Yoga means to link with the higher. Bhakti means through devotion and through practical actions throughout the day. We try to, be devotional to the Lord, to dedicate our actions throughout the day in the devotional mood to not to ourselves or to our extended selves like the family or our friends or our colleagues. No, we try to practice whatever we do, whatever we work for a higher purpose and ultimately for the Lord. So yeah. Anyway, I was in Bangladesh. That's mercy from Indra. Give us some rain so that the crops can grow. And I didn't have much time to prepare this lecture, but somehow or other, because you're just with other people who also practice the same process, then you share wisdom, you share your daily lives, and actually it's one of the 5 practices in. There's many lists of the elements that Bhakti Yoga constitutes of. There's the 9 processes, there's the 5 processes, there's the 4 principles. But one of them divides them into 5 and calls the first one association with devotees, with like-minded spiritual people. So it's an important thing. And I wanted to read today one of my services. As Vijay mentioned, I do many different things. One of my favorite services is helping to translate some spiritual books into Dutch that Srila Prabhupada translated from Sanskrit into English. So the last one that was published by our publisher, which is the largest publisher of Eastern philosophical books in the world, is this. In English, it's the Nectar of Instruction. So our Sampradaya basically more or less started or revived in the 15th century by a person named Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He's considered an incarnation of Krishna. He's also here on the altar with his brother Balaram on his side, called Nityananda. So they didn't write much themselves, but they had 6 disciples, and one of them wrote this little book. It's all about how to deal with each other, how to build spiritual friendships, and how to act, basically, if you're on the spiritual path. So it's an interesting book. It's short. It's just a couple of verses, and I'd like to read one of those verses. Here.
Rupa Goswami. No, is it Rupa or Jiva Goswami?
Rupa Goswami.
Is that what you want?
Yes.
I'm using that, so
Thank you so much. Wonderful. So here's another list. This time it's 6 processes or 6 things that are conducive to your spiritual practice. I'll read the Sanskrit. Dadati pratikhnati kuhyam akhyati krichati punkte bhojayate chaivan satviham priti lakshanam. Offering gifts in charity, 1. Accepting charitable gifts, 2. Revealing one's mind in confidence, 3. Inquiring confidentially, 4. Accepting prasad, vegetarian meal that has been offered to the Lord, and offering prasad, giving it to somebody else, are the 6 symptoms of love shared by one devotee and another. Whenever I say devotee or sadhu, you can just fill in spiritual friend. So I'd like to zoom in on the middle 2, inquiring confidentially and revealing one's mind in confidence, because as soon as we start on the spiritual path, we have high hopes for ourselves and high stakes for ourselves and high standards. And I see in our community specifically sometimes that we forget, we kind of bypass the little things and that are still, that do not fit the process maybe so much. But those little things, if we don't talk about them, they can grow bigger and become obstacles. And sometimes we see people leave after some time just because they felt they weren't able to reveal their minds about the little things that were still festering in their hearts, that were not going away, you know, immediately. When you start a spiritual practice, it's hard work. It extends sometimes, you know, lifetimes. So revealing one's mind in confidence and inquiring confidentially. I'd like to scroll down a little bit to the second paragraph and read this to you. So this is a commentary that Srila Prabhupada gave us based on, you know, his line of teachers. And it basically says these 6 things are just common sense. Even in ordinary social activities, I don't know if it's on the board, no, anyway, it's a little bit down from this verse. Even in ordinary social activities, these 6 types of dealings between 2 loving friends are absolutely necessary. For instance, when one businessman wishes to contact another businessman, he arranges a feast in a hotel, and over the feast he openly expresses what he wishes to do. This is my goal. He then inquires from his business friend how he should act. I see all these obstacles. What would you do? You're more experienced than me, maybe you have a different angle of vision from me. And sometimes presents are also exchanged. Thus, whenever there is a dealing of pity or love in intimate dealings, these 6 activities are executed. In the previous verse, Srila Rupa Goswami advised that one should renounce worldly association and keep company with the devotees. Sangha Jagat Sato Vidde. The International Society for Krishna Consciousness, our official institutional legal name, has been established to facilitate these 6 kinds of loving exchanges between devotees. And then Prabhupada goes on to speak basically also how practicing these 6 things is not just the goal of ISKCON, our society here, but it's also the way how it expands. He was saying, like, single-handedly he came to the West, you know, with nothing but the trunk full of Bhagavad Puran books, the first 2 skandhas, and he was all alone, and he didn't know anybody, basically, and at some point he was even out on the streets, and then, you know, some hippies just latched onto him. And what did he do? He cooked for them. He listened to what they had to say about all their life problems. They would come to him and knock on his door, you know, in the middle of the night. My girlfriend just broke up with me. Stuff like that. He would listen. And then when he had listened, he would share his knowledge with them. And this movement took off because they became so fond of each other, of the Sangha, and, you know, gradually by developing this relationship, a strong community developed. And in this way they could, you know, Srila Prabhupada really soon send some dedicated people already, you know, when there were like 10, 20 people, he already sent some people off to do the same thing elsewhere. And they also, you know, just cooked and shared Jadam and just did these little things. So if we forget to reveal our mind in confidence and speak confidentially to each other, that is also detrimental to, you know, spreading this nice process that can make people experience peace and feel happiness and connect to the Lord. So let me see if an ordinary association with devotees will certainly develop this dormant Krishna consciousness or Bhakti consciousness. This understanding of Krishna consciousness is innate in every living entity, and it's already developed to some extent when the living entity takes a human body. Yeah, it's said that we can have many bodies as a traveling soul reincarnating in this world. It can be a plant body, it can be an animal body, it can be a body of a higher being, Devas and Devatas, it can be a human body. The human body has specific advantage that, you know, there's a balance of happiness and distress, so you are motivated to take up some spiritual process. If you have a lower consciousness or a lower body, then, you know, you don't have the choice. You're just basically surviving. If you have a high status like a Devi Devatas, they get absorbed in, everything is nice there. So why would you take up any spiritual progress? No. So human form is especially suited to spiritual practices, let's say. So, and this consciousness is already there, it's innate, you just have to revive it. So we can help each other. And in Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna explicitly says, you know, one who serves me, you know, that's nice. But who is more dear to me than one who serves me?
The one who serves my devotee.
The one who serves my devotee is more dear to me than one who serves me. So, yes. Let me see. I looked up a few verses. We have this nice index for the Bhagavad Gita where you can see, you know, okay, what verses relate to progressing spiritually by associating with devotees. So one of those verses is 7:30. Oh, actually, I have 10:9 first. Yeah, it's a famous verse, huh?
There's some sound.
Machita Madgata Prana Hodayanta Parasparam Kathayantascha Mandicham Tushanticha Ramanticha. So when I was in Bangladesh, interestingly, there was a very nice speaker there, Anuttam Prabhu. He's the head worldwide of external communications for ISKCON. He interacts a lot with different faiths, also interfaith dialogue. So he was giving the morning class. And he was speaking about Bhagavad Puran, which I will come to later. But he came back to this verse, and he said something interesting about this, especially Hodayanta Parasparam, here translated as preaching amongst themselves. He interpreted this as, you know, encouraging each other and also revealing the mind confidentially, speaking confidentially. So my thoughts of my pure devotees dwell in me. Our main process for spiritual advancement for us is chanting this Hare Krishna mantra. It cleanses the nerve of the heart, it makes the fog go away, it makes you see things more clearly again. And we're actually instructed that our ultimate goal is to be thinking of Krishna or chanting this mantra 24 hours a day. Now, if I look at my own life personally, 24 hours is a little ambitious. So, I have a lot of other things on my mind. But if we have a lot of spiritual people around us, we can remind each other, you know, even if you're, oh, this colleague at work, or my husband, or my kids, or, you know, whatever. But then you can sit down with a friend, you can, you know, pour out your heart, you can reveal your mind, and they will tell you, you know, they will listen to you first, like Prabhupada listened to all kinds of, you know, material, temporary stuff, and you can remind each other, no, but Krishna is there, he will help you. And you can also analyze, because Krishna says, you know, I am material nature, I'm the source of material nature, and how material nature works is supposed to tell us something. So just by analyzing our own lives, it's called Svadhyaya, just by analyzing our own lives and seeing how material nature works in our lives, what direction Prakriti is pushing us, that's one way of moving towards Krishna. So it's a way of serving the devotees to be analyzing these things together in our lives. So the thoughts of my pure devotees dwell in me. But sometimes they dwell on other things, but we can help each other, you know, channel this thing again straight to the goal. Sadhu, straight to the goal. Their lives are fully devoted to my service, somehow or other we try. And they derive great satisfaction and bliss from always enlightening one another and conversing about me. is enlightening one another is important. So Bhagavad Gita 7:30, yes, also in Prabhupada's commentary on it, says the 7th chapter of the Gita particularly explains how one can become a fully Krishna conscious person. The beginning of this process is association of persons who are Krishna conscious. People who are, a little bit more advanced, preferably, than us, but at least people on the path. Such association is spiritual and puts one directly in touch with the Supreme Lord. And by His grace, one can understand Krishna to be the Supreme Personality of God. At the same time, one can really understand the constitutional position of the living entity, how the living entity forgets Krishna, becomes entangled in material activities. That's relatable. By gradual development of Krishna consciousness in good association, the living entity can understand that due to the forgetfulness of Krishna, he has become conditioned by the laws of material nature. He can also understand that this human form of life is an opportunity to regain Krishna consciousness that should be fully utilized to attain the positive mercy of the Supreme Lord. So, wow! Reminds us of Govardhan Hill, right?
Do you have any pillars?
Huh? No pillars here, no.
That's a joke for himself.
We just had Nrsimha appearance day a couple of days earlier, and he appears from a pillar, and he's fierce and ferocious, protective form of Krishna. And, this sounds like he's about to appear. Yeah. So, yes, the verse from Bhagavad Puran that was being discussed in Bangladesh, the community that I went to, is actually not just mentioned in Bhagavad Puran, but it's also mentioned in Chaitanya Charitamrita, which is, we have kind of a progression. Bhagavad Gita is like the A, then we have the B is Bhagavad Puran, and then the C for us is considered Chaitanya Charitamrita. It's a progression. So it's maybe a little difficult to explain the context, but the way we try to love Krishna is the way that Krishna was loved by his childhood girlfriend. And at some point, he grew up in a village, and all the young girls there were so much in love with him. And it was a pure kind of love, created by the etiquette. So at some point, he had to leave. Of course, he grew up. He went to become king and marry many queens. And girls in the village were just devastated. They were heartbroken. And basically their life stopped. Almost their life air stopped, but not quite. Somehow they were hanging in. But at some point Krishna sent his cousin back to console these childhood girlfriends of his, the gopis. So Uddhava was his cousin, and he also looked very much like him. Same complexion, same sense of fashion. He really looked like him. So Uddhava traveled back from the city to the village. He also said it would be good for you to meet them because their love is so pure. It would be good for you to experience this, and also you will serve them by telling them about me, how I'm doing here in the big city. They will be enlivened by this. So the speaker in Radhadesh saw this as an example how we should also be acting, to enlighten one another and to encourage one another. And we'll get to that. So, interestingly, this is this verse on the board. When Uddhava arrives, he starts speaking to the gopis. One of the things he says here is the gopis of Vrindavan have given up the association of their husbands, sons, and other family members. They risk everything for their love. They're very difficult to love. And they're taking the path of chastity, even to take shelter, lotus feet of Buddha, and bring in Krishna, lotus feet. one should search for by knowledge. Oh, let me be fortunate enough to become one of the bushes, creepers, or herbs in Vrindavan. The gopis trample them and bless them with the dust of their lotus feet. So there's a little, cultural thing going on there also. It's Uddhava is taking a humble attitude. To be at someone's feet is considered a sign of respect. And bushes, creepers, and herbs are at the feet of the person. So, interestingly, who is Uddhava glorifying here? Who is he speaking about? Yes, obviously. Yeah. Who is he speaking to? I mentioned earlier. Also, I should give you two signs to think. He was also speaking to gopis. So he's actually here appreciating and respecting the gopis. And this is something we sometimes forget, especially in our society. We are, oh no, don't glorify another person. They will become so proud if you do that. Don't do this. And some of our acharyas also say, like, if you glorify me, I'll curse you because don't do this. But actually, if someone says don't do this, is different than not doing it, because we need to encourage one another somehow. Let me look at my notes.
That's same community that
Yeah.
an advanced person doesn't want to be called advanced out of humility.
Yes. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, but we're not on that level, so we can definitely glorify each other if it helps the person hang on to the process. The speaker there was referring to Alcoholics Anonymous, right? That's what they do every day. Like, they come together and they say, "Wow, you did it! You did not touch a drink for 24 hours. You're so wonderful." And this person's having such a hard time drinking. Just encouraging one another so much. You can hang on another day. So let me see what my notes say. Oh, they also gave a more Vedic example. Like, before going into battle, like the battle of Kurukshetra, all these warriors would have chariot drivers, and it's described how these chariot drivers would say, "You're so great, you can do this," because even before the battle, Arjuna lost heart completely. And this was often like one person going out to fight 1,000 others, right? No chance, materially speaking. No chance of making it. But the chariot drivers and the other warriors would be like, no, you can do it. And remember, Krishna is with you, so, victory is guaranteed. As long as you remember him, act according to his, wishes, and dovetail your activities to him, then in this way you can do it. And, by the mutual encouragement, of course. Yeah. So in the same way, we as devotees, Prabhupada said many times, we Western devotees, he said, you're not afraid enough of Maya. Maya is illusion. She's also personality, but she's what makes us forget true purpose when we end up here in material life. So she's what keeps the veil on us, she's what keeps the fog before our eyes so that we can't see our spiritual nature and act according to it. So Prabhupada said, we're in a war with Maya, actually. We're in a war with Maya. We're here to present that, to conquer that tendency, and in the same way, right, we need to encourage one another because we have no chance. She's an expansion of Radharani. We have no chance against her unless we encourage one another. We remind one another that Krishna is there. Yeah, and one inspiration in this is I don't know if that's in this purport actually. No, it's not. It was in one of the Gita verses that I read in the purport. Srila Prabhupada mentions, and also this speaker in Radhadesh mentioned that the inspiration in this is the Srimad Bhagavad Puran, because you know a big thing in religion is always, you know, why do bad things happen to people? You know, for us it's not such a big question because we're here. You know, good bad things are supposed to be happening to motivate us, you know, for higher goals. So the question is not so much why do bad things happen to good people. The real question is, what do good people do when bad things happen to them? And the Bhagavad Puran is just a whole bookshelf full of really good people that go through bad stuff, seriously bad stuff. I mean, if you read that, you'll feel kind of encouraged just by knowing that it could be worse. But they deal with these things in a way that's, you know, spiritual, God conscious. So we derive inspiration from there. And actually, one of the purpose that I was reading to prepare for this class said there is nothing material in the Bhagavatam. We often hear this, right? There's nothing material in the Bhagavatam. It's all spiritual. You have Puranas on different levels. You have, Tamasic Puranas, Rajasic Puranas. Bhagavad Puran is considered Amala Puran, so spotless Puran, not even sattvic, but spotless, transcendental. So nothing material is in there. It's just transcendental. But, you know, it's about, you know, a young boy getting hurt because he's moved away from the lap of his father by his stepmother and wanting revenge. It's about, you know, wars being fought. It's about, you know, sages going a little weird sometimes and becoming angry where they should. From our perspective, there's so much material stuff. The point is that once it's not material, because, you know, our teachers tell us it's not material. So once you share these stories, we see them in a Krishna conscious perspective, they're no longer material. And in this way, we can help transform each other's lives just by, you know, if you really study the Bhagavatam, first of all, it's very much inspirational to yourself. It's lovely stories. You know, there's love stories, there's, you know, intrigues, it's just engaging to the mind. But yeah, it makes a spiritual point ultimately. So we can do the same thing if we speak about, you know, our so-called material stuff, but we change this perspective together to a higher spiritual consciousness that is Vaishnava Seva. It is sadhana. Vaishnava Seva. Again, Krishna says, you know, the way to reach him is not so much charity, trying to worship him or trying to serve him. The way is, you know, serving his people who are dear to him, who are on the spiritual path, on the way to him. So this is, it says, Uddhava was sent by Krishna, this is from the Bhagavatam, and it says, it benefited both Uddhava, going to the gopis, and it benefited the gopis also. And they were showing him around Vrindavan, right? You know, this is where we used to sneak out to the forest. You know, this is the tree where Krishna did all our saris when we were bathing in Yamuna, and he stole our heart like that. And this is where we used to worship Mother Kajayani. Krishna is her husband. And all these things they would remember, and Uddhava would be so uplifted by hearing their pure love, and at the same time they would be so eager to hear, how's Krishna doing now? He must be having so much fun with all these queens. And Uddhava asked them, shall I go ask Krishna to come back? And they said, no, if you send him a good time, that's all that matters for us. We'll be fine. Running away. Uddhava visited Radharani, his dear girlfriend. She was like they had to hold a piece of cloth in front of her nose to see whether she was actually breathing still. That's the stage she was in. Her life had gone basically almost when Krishna left. So yeah, that's of course a very different level that we're on. But ultimately, we're it's our goal to strive for this. Right. Let me see if I note down some more points. Oh yes, 1868 in the Gita. I don't know if I have that here. 1868. One who explains the supreme secrets of Krishna consciousness to the devotees, devotional services guaranteed, and then he will come back to me. And it's also said, the very first text that I read today. So here it says, if you share things with others, then in the end you will be able to remember me at the point of death. And in the first text that I read, it says the other way around. If you hear this, if you receive this, then you will have the same. It has the same benefit. So actually, what we're doing here now today is that I'm revealing my thoughts on the scriptures to you, telling you about my trip to Radhadesh and wonderful people that I spoke to there, and hopefully you've been listening very attentively, and hopefully we have 15 more minutes you can share some of your experiences with this, and maybe there's spiritual friends in your life, or there's just friends in your life who encourage you in the spiritual way. There's friends in your life who feel more like dragging you down. So there's several things you can do. If the dynamics are not there, or people uplifting you, you can either try to change the dynamic, or you can ultimately. It's important to have people around you who will uplift you. So you can also just change the circles. So yeah, I've just shared a little bit of my thoughts on this. Oh, one last point, which is interesting, in the Srimad Bhagavatam verse that Uddhava spoke about the gopis. He says he slips in one thing. Krishna, which one should search for by Vedic knowledge? Actually, Uddhava also brings a message to the gopis from Krishna. And he would say, you would think that he would say, oh, that time, when he danced in the moonlight, so fondly. What he tells them is basically, you're not this body, you're basic stuff, nothing esoteric. And why the whole point behind this is that everything we read in the Vedas is supposed to ultimately bring us to this point of Krishna consciousness, or God consciousness, or spiritual level. So the gopis, Uddhava says here, you're doing this. It's amazing. Oh, by the way, it's also the goal of the Vedas. So it's just to confirm that, ultimately, there's just one rule, regulation that we stick to. There's two parts. Never forget Krishna, always remember him. And all the rest is details. So yeah, let's remind each other of that in some way. Encourage each other in this process. Krishna, thank you for coming. And so I'd like to hear your thoughts. There's also one more really nice song that we can sing. Either there's not much discussion, we can sing it now, or we can sing it after the service, because after the Janama Surfi was a little bit at the end. So this is the song. It's called Ohe Vaishnav Thakur. It's basically also about. It's a song that's very close to my heart, because it's. Sometimes you think also about this song as just to elevate the devotees, but when I sing it, I really feel like I need this appreciation, I need the friendships of the devotees around me, and because on your own, you just can't do it. You can't remember Krishna. You can't, be steady in your job. You need. There's always times where you're about to give up, where you're having a hard time keeping principles or whatever. So it's important at those moments to be honest about it. Have some friends where you can always go speak confidentially. Uplift each other, drag each other to the next 24 hours of practicing. So, thank you very much for your attention. You both benefit. I hope I need. And any thoughts or comments or concerns you want to share? Yeah.
There's nobody else.
Start reading.
I think, well, you said most things, I think. Important things about this. There are a few comments or things that come in my mind. Krishna is a person, let's start with that. That's a very fundamental aspect of our belief, our science.
Yeah.
God is a person, he's not an energy, he's a person. He's a person and there's nothing behind him.
Yeah. And ultimately, if you think of him as impersonal, that's just emanating from him. Yeah,
that's a fundamental aspect of which distinguishes us from other philosophies that you can call impersonal. So, because Krishna is a person, we are also persons. And what is a very fundamental aspect of a person is that he engages in relationships.
Yeah, it would be no fun doing anything if you can't share it with your friends afterwards, right?
Even Krishna himself, he expands as Radha and Krishna. So actually he himself is embodying the perfect relationship. Now, but since we have somehow left Krishna, I won't make it too long. And since we are in a lower state of consciousness at the moment, it's very difficult to engage directly in a relationship with Krishna. And this is also why it's so important that we practice with, well, it's not just practice, because in the spiritual we also have relationships with other devotees. But it is actually very essential that we engage in good relationships with devotees, and that we are not on the level actually to directly engage in that relationship with Krishna. Definitely. And that is, as I said, I forget it actually many times. We have this tendency to think of ourselves and Krishna. Yeah.
Yeah, actually, it's the process of anartha nivritti, right? As long as we have all these anarthas, all these unwanted things in our hearts, we can't, relate to Krishna.
There's a nice comparison that we are like diamonds in a bag, raw diamonds.
Yeah, I just want to make it.
You
tell
know
it.
One?
Yeah.
You can tell it.
I hear it as sharp stones, but yeah, raw diamonds are just, wobbly. They have all points sticking out. They're rough. But when they rub together for a long time, they become polished.
They polish each other.
Yeah, they polish each other just by rubbing against each other. And sometimes you rub against another stone, against another devotee, and it's painful because they have this sharp edge. But, just by working it out together, very it's a process that is supportive of our main practice of chanting Krishna, because this is also supposed to wash away the narcissism. And but it's not like we sit down and we make Krishna do all the work. We chant Krishna and just keep away from devotees and I'll wait until he purifies my heart. That's not how it works. We need to put them. This was also a nice point that the speaker Ramesh made. Actually, the previous one on Nrsimha Chaturdashi, he says we need to take ownership. We need to take ownership of the process. Not just follow the rules and regulations, follow all the external stuff, but we need to go deeper. And not let Krishna do all the work. I'm doing all these things, you make it happen. Any other thoughts?
I wanted to ask about being surrounded by devotees and also maintaining your duties in like material world. Like many of us have jobs and live in cities and we come to the temple when we can and be in association with devotees when we can. But how is it? How can we balance like these two things? Where, because many times I think to myself, I should just give up my life and move to like a community where.
Tempting, huh? Yes.
But it's tempting, but it feels like you still have responsibilities in your material world. But do you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, it's a very relatable struggle. I think we all feel, especially if you go deep into your chanting, very, very, let's call it seductive. Very tempting to do that. Our acharyas, they managed to do both. Srila Prabhupada, who brought the movement to the West, he was a grihastha for a long time, and he did also feel the same way that you did, right? Because all his god brothers were sannyasis and were living in the mud, and they were, having full-time availability to their spiritual master. And Prabhupada was always feeling so much separation, which is one of the gopis, which really makes the desire strong, right? It makes the desire strong. So, he felt like basically like we in his school would call it fringy or a friend of Krishna, right? And sometimes I have a job, I have 3 kids. Don't talk to me about it, but so we feel like we can't do much and we want to do more. It's a good feeling. That's productive, and you can cultivate that and still be in your situation, because in the end, Prabhupada was the one who made the difference. So the god brothers who tried before him to go to the West. So in the end, it's the sincerity and that you can develop also in any situation. And of course, we try to get together on Saturday evenings to just where we would otherwise Friday afternoon we'd go to TGIF with colleagues, and we kind of avoid that and make ourselves Krishna conscious as much as possible with like-minded people. So people who also have the job and who also have the kids and who also have the marriage, and because then it's very important that association is with like-minded devotees. People in the same situation who can relate to your situation, that you can really build friendships with. And then, you can encourage each other, to how to stay on in your day job, because, having a family is an ashram. It's grihastha ashram. And ashram is for purification. So sannyasa ashram is there, but grihastha ashram is, maybe even more tricky in some ways. I mean, every ashram has its own challenges. Yeah. So I hope that helps. Yeah. Yes.
Regarding his question, I used to live in an ashram for 10 years, for less 10 years, and in Mexico with my master. I'd like to tell you that you take everything there also, and the drama continues there also, and you develop relationships and same issues as you have here. Now I'm in the world again, I've not been since 2012, and I see that there are ashrams everywhere actually, and I see that you can work and serve through the relationships that come around you. They don't come in futility, they come for a reason. You have to work with that. It's like a really beautiful puzzle that is given only to you. It's a unique journey.
Yeah.
And you can serve through every living being that comes to you, every situation. And you can accept it and invite it and give yourself to it. And nothing changes. In the community, actually, at one point I was more miserable. Because I was imposing, I had an idea in my head that that's what spirituality means. That's what service means. Being at the feet of the master. But it was just an idea. And it was the same struggle. So if you think that's what calls you very strongly, that you don't have to say yes or no, you're just drawn to it, go for it. But only in that place. where it pulls you like a magnet that you cannot say yes or no. Otherwise, I think everywhere you are, you can serve. And there is no, at one point it becomes a beautiful combination between material and spiritual. There is no difference
Yeah.
between it.
Yeah.
Because what is Krishna and where is Krishna in everybody and in everything.
Yeah, Prabhupada said our business is basically to convert matter into spirit, and the way to do it is just by changing your own consciousness. So, you know, and even like I said, all the stuff in the Bhagavatam, if you look at it with an external eye, it's material stuff, and your job may seem material, or, you know, all your duties outside seem material, but eventually changing your consciousness makes it spiritual, and that's a very beautiful point. Thank you for sharing that, because yeah, it really does work that way. You're put in a situation, not a blade of grass moves without Lord's will, huh? So you're in this situation because you're supposed to be.
If you work to maintain your family and to actually support and maintain your body and become Krishna conscious, it's not material. Actually, the difference between material and spiritual is it to please Krishna or is it just to please my own senses? Then the last is material and the first is spiritual. That's the basic difference.
Vijay Prabhu, are we ready for Aarti, or do we have a few more minutes? Yes. Any other thoughts in the meantime? Okay, good. Then we might as well prepare for Aarti, because in 1 minute it's time.
The Grace Button Power Key.
Yeah, so the next item on the program is Aarti. This will be performed by Rani Mati. Sorry, Rani Mati. Sometimes I just no, there's a oh, yeah.
If you want to sing.
No,
So we are going to have Gaur Aarti now. If you don't know the lyrics, you can follow the lyrics from the screen. Shiva Jayo Jayo Gaur Chande Aarti Karo.
Hare
अभय चरणारविंद एसी भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी श्री प्रभुपाद की फाउंडर आचार्य श्री प्रभुपाद की जय गुरु विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य ष्टोदर्शक श्रीमद शिल भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती ठाकुर गोस्वामी श्री प्रभुपाद की अनंत कोटि वैष्णव भक्त वृंद की नामाचार्य शिल हरिदास ठाकुर की प्रेम से कहो जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवास आदि गौर भक्त वृंद की श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरि गोवर्धन की ब्रजभूमि श्री वृंदावन धाम की नवद्वीप मायापुर धाम की पुरुषोत्तम क्षेत्र श्री जगन्नाथपुरी धाम की गंगा मैया यमुना मैया की भक्ति देवी श्रीमती तुलसी महारानी की कलयुग पावन युग धर्म श्री हरिनाम संकीर्तन की ताई गौर प्रेमानंदे all glories to assembled devotees all glories to assembled devotees all glories to assembled devotees all glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga all glories to Sri Guru.
Marshall, anyone wants to sing the Shiva prayers?
बोलो श्री कृष्ण भगवान की प्रहलाद महाराज की प्रभुपाद की
Jai Gaurachandra ki. So we will continue now with Tulsi Puja. Tulsi Maharani is here now over there. She's a devotee disguised as a plant. She's a really big devotee of Lord Krishna. And no offer is complete without Tulsi Maharani. So we will worship her. We will sing first a song during which the Ark ceremony is performed. Afterwards, we will give a signal. We will circumambulate Tulsi Maharani. And you can all put a drip of water in your hat. So first the refugees, the gentlemen, then the Mahajis, the ladies.
So please all stand up.
No, not yet, not yet.
Oh, for the obeisances first.
So please bow down for Tulsi Maharani. Vrindaye Tulsi Devya Priyaya Keshava Shicha Vishnu Bhakti Prade Devi Satyavatya Namo Namaha. Vrindaye Tulsi Devya Priyaya Keshava Shicha Vishnu Bhakti Prade Devi Satyavatya Namo Namaha. Vrindaye Tulsi Devya Priyaya Keshava Shicha Vishnu Bhakti Prade Devi Satyavatya Namo Namaha. Tulsi Maharani ki. Namo Namaha Tulasi Krishna Prayasi Namo Namaha So please bow down again, Tulsi Maharani. Vrindayai Tulsi Devyai Priyayai Keshava Cha Vishnu Bhakti Pradidevi Satyavatya Namo Namaha. Vrindayai Tulsi Devyai Priyayai Keshava Cha Vishnu Bhakti Pradidevi Satyavatya Namo Namaha. Vrindayai Tulsi Devyai Priyayai Keshava Cha Vishnu Bhakti Pradidevi Satyavatya Namo Namaha. Vrinda Tulasi Devi ki. Hare Krishna, thank you so much for coming today to ISKCON Amsterdam Sunday Feast. First of all, we would like to thank the lecturer of today, Her Grace Paula Mataji. Give her a big Haribol! Cook of today was His Grace Ananta Prem Prabhu. Also big Haribol! Flowers were done by Nartaki Radha Mata and Elena Mataji. Haribol! All the technical assistants today, Vivek Prabhu, Haribol! The kitchen team today, Marcel Prabhu, Srivas Anga Prabhu, also big Haribol to them. Haribol! The Pujari of today, Vecharani Mataji, but of course also the whole Pujari team. Haribol! So, next week, Saturday, May 13th, that is the Kirtan Mela, followed by the Holy Name Retreat on May 14th. Milan Prabhu, you want to say something about this?
Sure. Hare Krishna, everyone. Haribo. So 1 week to go. It's getting very close. Less than 1 week ago, yes. For Amsterdam Kirtan Mela, 13th of May. And the Holy Name Retreat with Saxinanda Maharaj on the 14th of May. So we had a deadline for subscribing yesterday. Not a deadline, but we were asking people to subscribe so we can make sure that we have enough prasadam and that we can accommodate everyone as maximum as possible. But so far we are on 250 tickets. Haribo! And you can still subscribe, so we are more than happy to welcome you. Please do it as quickly as possible so we can accommodate with the prasadam. It's going to be 11-hour Kirtan festival, like the Kirtan we're doing here, with a lot of different Kirtanyas. So more than happy for everyone here for you to come. We also have services that are going to be happening on the day. You can offer the flowers. There's decoration services. There is prasadam services. So there will be a list going out from Srini Prabhu on the services for the day. So if you would like to contribute with any service, please fill in your name, and you can service the Holy Name via your service through the event. And then for Sunday we have the Holy Name Retreat. It's with His Holiness Saxinanda Maharaj, and it's really a deepening of the bhakti that you have. So, hi.
Please in the back, can you be a little bit more quiet, please? Otherwise, close the door.
So on Sunday we have His Holiness Sakshananda Swami. It is an experience that is deepening your bhakti. It's going to be in Haarlem from 11 o'clock to 6 o'clock. And usually the experience after that is really a deepening experience with your bhakti in the holy name. So please all subscribe for that as well. And looking forward to seeing you next week. Haribo!
Thank you so much. So because of this, next week there will be no Sunday feast in the temple, so the temple is closed. The week after that, 20th of May, there will be a Ramadan in Delft, organized by the group Harinamse Kirtan.nl. So it's far away, but maybe you can already put in your agenda. More details will follow in our newsletters. Yes, we know.
Haribol!
Haribo!
So good to see a lot of new faces. So how many of you were here on the Narsimha Chaturdashi day?
Haribo!
Okay, so I see there were many who are not there. So what you can do is we had a drama on the Narsimha Chaturdashi day, and those who were here, I'm sure you had a memorable experience. It was a humble offering from our end, from the ISKCON Amsterdam drama team. And those who are not there, and also those who are there, and you want to share it with your friends and family, do visit our YouTube channel. Details will be shared here, and do watch the drama. And it will be very inspiring for us if you leave your feedback there. So a lot of effort, a lot of blood and sweat literally goes behind making these dramas as an offering for the Lord and also for all of you. So it will be really inspiring for us if you visit our channel, subscribe to it, and wait for the other dramas or the different videos that we are going to put about the preparation that goes behind these dramas, or for example the analysis post the dramas. So do watch out the space. And if anybody would like to help with the logistics, costume, makeup, there's usually a lot of work that goes behind it. Do reach out to us, to me or Naman or Sundari Radha Mataji.
It was an amazing drama. Haribo!
So Prabhuji will share the QR code, so those who have not watched it, please go home and watch it and do leave your feedback. Thank you.
Haribo!
Thank you so much. So please, those who are today for the first time in this temple, raise your hands. First time, yes. Yes. Thank you so much for coming. We give a small token of appreciation to our first time guests. So I would like to invite you to come more often if possible. If you want to keep up to date with our programs, we have a newsletter that you can subscribe for with all our details and programs. On our website, iskonamsterdam.nl, you can subscribe. And otherwise, you can also we can add you to our WhatsApp group. There's also an update of our programs. So please raise your hands again, please. Yes. So so everyone got Mataji over here? So thank you so much. We will serve prasadam in the temple today. If you would kindly consider a small or big donation, whatever is up to you, we would really appreciate, because running this temple takes a lot of financial efforts. We have a pin machine and cash box in the hallway, or you can also go to our website. We have a new donation page in which you can either donate one time, or you can subscribe. You can become some kind of member. For that now, it's necessary to use credit card or PayPal, but in the future we will also add other possibilities. But please consider iskonamsterdam.nl and then support us. It would be really nice and appreciated. So for the prasadam serving, we need at least 6 servers. So who wants to serve a shuttle in the temple? 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. Yes. Sorry. But there's also someone needed to clean the temple room. Yes. Okay. Thank you. Someone to clean the hall. Yes. Thank you. Okay. It's good. Thank you. And we need at least 2 persons to clean pots in the kitchen. Yes. Thank you so much. So I would like to ask you to form 2 rows over here with Kasia.